When an unidentified object crashes on Earth, this event leads to death of 5 people. But they miraculously resurrect with supernatural powers and realize that they are fated to save humanity from a forthcoming apocalypse. 2 women walk out of a hospital talking about Rose's engagement. Rose starts feeling faint and shares a sense of impending doom. Suddenly, a man appears with a gun, talking about death, and shoots her. 7 years later, we're in New Mexico. Vera, a radio astronomer, and her colleague Ellen notice a large object entering Earth's atmosphere. In Mexico, undercover drug agent Raul narrowly escapes being killed with the timely arrival of his partners. In Arizona, young mother Erin tells her daughter, Amy, to get in the car after a troubling phone call from Ronnie. Meanwhile, in Houston, Texas, TV preacher Joshua is gearing up for a performance with support from his pregnant wife, Charlotte. In Arkansas, a high school student named Peter has a conversation with his friend Alice, who supports him against a bully named Sam. Meanwhile, Vera and Alan are observing an object as it approaches their location. Vera steps outside their van and encounters a mysterious force field, causing her to fall to the ground, seemingly lifeless. This same force affects Raul in Mexico, Peter while swimming in the school pool, Erin driving with her daughter in the car, and Joshua while on camera. Alan discovers Vera with no pulse. Strangely, at the supposed meteor crash site, there isn't a meteor, but rather a scorched man lies in its place. The story unfolds with a series of mysterious and interconnected events, introducing an element of intrigue and suspense. Vera wakes up seemingly fine, but Alan questions why she called him Michael when she woke up. Erin wakes up as an ambulance is taking her daughter away. Peter comes to life while being given CPR. Raul wakes up and somehow hears the thoughts from one of his partners. He knows they plan on killing him. A shootout occurs and Raul gets away but was shot. Joshua wakes up and says he needs to make a broadcast. At the hospital, Erin's ex-husband, Ronnie, shows up. He's a police officer and says he'll make the accident report say she was drinking. Peter's counselor questions what happened in the pool because Peter once tried to commit suicide. It's also revealed he lives in a group foster home. The man who crashed on Earth walks up, naked, to a mechanic on the side of the road. Vera and Alan drive by on their way to the crash site. When they pass by, the man has taken the mechanic's clothes. Vera and Alan hear the radio saying the government is calling what happened a solar flare, which confuses them. Raul makes his way across the US border while still hurt. When Vera and Alan arrive at the crash site, they realize it's the same location as Trinity, the location where the first nuclear bomb was tested. As they investigate the crater, the military shows up. Joshua goes on the air and describes his experience dying and coming back to life. At a house party, Sam picks on Peter and a fight ensues. While crying over her badly hurt daughter, Erin's tears land on Amy's head wound. It miraculously heals. Joshua spouts on about God and how revelation has begun. Peter is able to fight back with extraordinary strength and accidentally kills him. Erin sneaks Amy out of the hospital. In the mirror, she appears to have spectral wings. When Peter looks at his reflection in the car window, he sees the same type of wings on his back. The military tells Vera and Alan to go, but she knows the government is trying to hide something. Peter kisses Alice goodbye because he needs to leave town after killing Sam. Alan swiped a sample from the crash site for Vera. Joshua's father doesn't approve of what his son said. Joshua has the same wings. At home, Vera finds the mysterious man waiting for her. He doesn't say who he is, but says she's been chosen. He knows where her son, Michael, is. Someone had taken him and she thought he was dead. The man can see her wings and says she needs to complete a job before he can tell her about her son. Joshua's wife reveals the baby may not be his, but his father's. Raul walks into a gas station bathroom to clean himself up. Inside the same gas station, Erin and Amy see Raul. After Raul sees his picture on the TV as a wanted suspect, he gets into Erin's car and makes her give him a ride. The man tells Vera to kill a woman who he perceives as a threat. Raul needs to get to Houston, which is where Erin and Amy were going anyway. Peter gets a ride with a trucker who's also heading toward Houston. Vera is then seen driving toward Houston as well. Joshua has a vision of the man and Rose lying unconscious in the Houston Memorial Hospital. Joshua goes to the hospital. Rose lies in bed as the man watches her and his eyes glow. Suddenly, Rose's fingers move a little. In the hospital, we see Vera and the man who pressures Vera to suffocate Rose with a pillow, claiming it's the only way she can get her son back. Vera, being a moral person, hesitates. We learn that Vera lost her infant son Michael in an airport, making parents everywhere a bit more paranoid. As Vera is about to go through with it, Rose suddenly sits up and starts speaking in a strange language, maybe Enochian. To everyone's surprise, the man disappears. Rose urgently tells Vera they must leave right away. Mom Erin, considering leaving unconscious federal agent Raul at a bus stop due to the carjacking, is convinced by her daughter Amy to take him to Houston Memorial Hospital as pointed out by a sign at the bus stop. Amy proves to be quite compassionate while her mom, Erin, seems a bit lenient. Meanwhile, preacher Joshua, looking for Rose, arrives at the hospital. Seeing a news clip of his father denouncing him on the TV in a hospital room, Joshua, feeling upset, goes to the chapel to pray for guidance. In the back of the chapel, teen Peter hides, munching on hospital food after being dropped off by the trucker who gave him a ride. Aaron brings Raul to the hospital, attracting unwanted attention due to his gunshot wound. Surprisingly, when Aaron touches Raul, his wound instantly heals. Both Aaron and Raul are trying to avoid the police, although it's unclear why Raul, given that he shot the other federal agents in self-defense. Attempting to lay low, they find themselves in the chapel. Rose and Vera also enter the chapel simultaneously. In this coincidental meeting spot, Joshua recognizes Rose from his vision. Rose reveals to everyone that they are the messengers, declaring, "We're the angels of the apocalypse." This catches their attention, especially when Rose mentions knowing their names and the shared near-death experiences from the previous day. She explains that God is upset and they are being tested. According to Rose, the meteor was Satan's return from heaven, leaving us wondering what Satan was doing up there in the first place. Scientist Vera, being an atheist, dismisses the notion of the devil. Rose highlights each messenger's unique gift to combat the devil. Aaron can heal, Raul can hear thoughts, Peter possesses strength, Joshua has prophetic vision, Rose comprehends whatever God wants her to, and as for Vera, her gift remains unrevealed. Vera seems to be the one waiting for her meal in the restaurant, getting her gift revealed later than the others. Joshua experiences a vision, but before he can share it, everyone scatters because the nurses are approaching. Raul rejoins Aaron and Amy in the car. When stopped by a sheriff, Raul hears their thoughts and discovers that Aaron is wanted by the police for fleeing her abusive husband with Amy. To handle the sheriff, Raul handcuffs him to his car. Aaron drops Raul off at his brother's house. Unfortunately, Raul finds his brother taken by the people pursuing him but manages to escape with his upset niece. We learn that she holds him responsible for her parents' breakup and her mother moving out, explaining her attitude and sarcastic thoughts. When Vera leaves the hospital, Joshua intercepts her to explain that his vision includes her son. Initially, Vera reluctantly aids Joshua in his quest to find a man from his vision, all the while sharing a continuous stream of sarcasm. They discover that the man from Joshua's vision is a veteran who lost his arm during combat, and the devil is also searching for him. Unfortunately, the devil finds him first. Unable to locate the veteran, Vera decides she's had enough, despite Joshua's warnings that he needs her, and goes off on her own. The veteran, having lost his racetrack winnings to the devil in a chess match, becomes despondent. In a tragic turn of events, Joshua, Vera, and the veteran all converge at the same location simultaneously. Before Joshua and Vera can intervene, the veteran walks in front of a bus, taking his own life. It appears that the messengers have faced a setback in their first mission from God. Meanwhile, teen Peter roams around Houston, interpreting signs along the way. He contacts his crush to assure her of his safety, but she tries to convince him to come back. Unbeknownst to him, the police are monitoring his call. It seems even his friend, who is a girl but might be more, is involved. Later in the evening, Peter approaches the Last Supper bar and grill, deciding to go in after noticing they are hiring a dishwasher. At the Last Supper, Vera and Joshua engage in their usual argument when ELO's Strange Magic starts playing on the jukebox. Surprisingly, the entire crew of messengers has assembled at the Last Supper. Rose informs them of the urgent task at hand, stopping the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse from breaking the 7 seals and triggering the rapture. It sounds like a mission that might take at least a season to accomplish. Additionally, they discover that there is still a 7th messenger yet to come. Vera sarcastically dismisses Rose's words, stating she only believes in things she can see. In response, Rose challenges her to look harder. As they all gaze into the bar mirror, they witness the reflection of their translucent wings. Seeing each of them with their angel wings becomes a highlight, along with the pleasure of hearing strange magic. Joshua experiences a vision revealing one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's war. The group is still at the bar. Rose says they need to find the first horseman, but Raul needs to take care of his family first. In a flashback, we see Raul and his brother at a strip club. Raul flirts with his brother's wife. Upstairs, Raul and his brother are sold out to the cops during a drug deal. In the present, Raul asks Aaron to watch Nadia. Nadia brings them to an abandoned house. Vera is still resistant to everything, but she knows the boy in the video is her son. As she leaves the bar, a mysterious man with a gun follows her. Alan shows up to Vera's hotel room. He brought the sample from the crash site. They have an appointment with an expert in planetary geology. The devil pretends to be a DA agent and meets with El Jeef and promises to lure Raul to a warehouse so El Jeef can kill both Raul and his brother. Peter and Joshua ask Rose about all the languages she knows. Peter finds the statue from Joshua's vision online. It's located in Austin. Raul goes to a man's house named Clark. In a flashback, we see that Clark is the one who made Raul a federal agent in order to take down El Jeef. Back in the present, Raul's mind reads Clark, who sold him out for $300,000. Clark ends up getting Raul's gun and points it at his head. At the abandoned house, Aaron finds a newspaper burning in the fireplace with a man on the cover. She realizes it might be the man from Joshua's vision. Vera reveals she was once involved with Leo Travers in grad school. In a flashback, we see that he is the father of Michael because she took a pregnancy test before meeting him for dinner. However, he breaks up with her. Back in the present, Leo is shocked to see Vera, but she's more shocked when she sees him in a wheelchair. Raul regains control of his gun. He tells Clark he needs to help him clear his name. Aaron calls Raul to tell him the first horseman is at a mosque in Houston. They need him to read the man's thoughts. Raul refuses to come. Raul is surprised by the devil, still pretending to be a DA agent, sitting in his car. He wants Raul to tell him everything about his new friends. Aaron and Rose investigate the Prime Minister from the vision. On his way out, Rose spots the devil shaking his hand. While Alan tests the rock, Leo tells Vera he has Huntington's disease and that's why he left her all those years ago. It's also hereditary, so he didn't want to pass it on. While Alan inspects the rock, it influences a plant and makes it grow blue flowers. He shows Vera and Leo the report, and the rock contains every known element and one unknown element. When they go back, the rock is gone. Vera chases the same man who was following her. He gets through a door and it closes before she can go through. However, she is able to put her hand and then her entire body through the door. The man gets away. When she walks through the door again, she sees herself on the ground with Alan trying to give her CPR. Neither Leo nor Alan can hear or see her. She touches her body and wakes up. At the funeral for Ben, Rose sees the devil shake hands with Senator Cindy Richards. At the warehouse, Raul finds his brother with a bomb strapped to him. His brother tells him to run. LG sets off the bomb. Inside the burning building, Raul gets up and sees the devil walking toward him. The guy who stole the rock brings it to a secret lab where scientists are trying to piece every part of the meteor back together. Rose believes they are in a race with the devil to find the horseman. Alan drops Vera off at the bar. Rose knows Vera has discovered her power to spirit walk. Raul shows up and says he told the devil everything about them. He goes to Nadia where she cries over her father. Back at the bar, everyone sits around outside when Peter hears a woman singing Amazing Grace. He finds a homeless woman. Once she finishes, the police show up and arrest him for murdering Sam. Raul and Rose are looking into Peter's arrest from the previous episode. Raul expresses doubt about the charges, but Rose, always fixated on the mission, isn't overly concerned about Peter's situation. To her, Peter is one of them, an angel, and they need him to prevent either of their candidates for the Horsemen of War from succeeding. Rose shifts her attention to Joshua playing the reassuring mother hen role while Joshua reminds everyone about the dire consequences if the Horsemen of War is not stopped. Vera, taking a more sensible approach, decides to test their gifts. She attempts spirit walking, but it doesn't work. To further investigate, she tests Aaron's healing ability using a knife, which also proves unsuccessful. This establishes that they can't control when their powers activate. Joshua reinforces this point by experiencing one of his unpleasant visions, causing him to spill his decaf coffee, confirming the long-standing suspicion that decaf is indeed the devil's brew. The vision includes images of death, broken chains, birds, Joshua's father condemning him, and another woman crying, with Joshua himself having a sucking chest wound. Vera rightly points out the absurdity of God communicating through what seems like a game of Pictionary. She finds it amusing that Joshua predicted his own death, but everyone focuses on every element of the vision except that. Vera also questions the legitimacy of Joshua's visions, suggesting they might be linked to his tumultuous personal life. She brings up Joshua's history of mental illness revealed by his father to cast doubt on him. Moreover, she questions the legality of their involvement with a senator and a foreign president. Rose dismisses Vera's skepticism, demanding that she prove Joshua's visions are false, falling into the old logical fallacy of demanding doubters prove a negative. Nadia, Raul's niece, is still babysitting Amy, Aaron's daughter, and using social media to express her reservations about the group's activities. It's clear that this won't end well. Raul attempts to talk to Nadia about her father's death, but she can't cope with it, pointing out the lack of usual mourning rituals like a gravestone or funeral. He's just gone. Unable to delve into that difficult conversation, Raul and Aaron embark on their mission. Raul amusingly denies reading Aaron's mind, even though he occasionally does so, trying to make it come across as cute and flirty. Meanwhile, Alan seeks out Vera, wanting to understand what is happening. Despite Vera telling him nothing, she still expects him to find the special rock they lost. Joshua goes to see his sister, the woman crying in his vision, but he is not exactly welcomed with open arms. This sister had been kicked out by their pastor father, and at the time, Joshua hadn't spoken up for her. It turns out their dad disowned her and her child, whom Joshua didn't know about due to her being in a deviant relationship with another woman. Despite their strained relationship, Joshua begs for her help, invoking their sibling bond, which hadn't meant much to him before he needed assistance. Surprisingly, she agrees to help him and they talk through his issues and visions. She asks if he's using drugs again, and while providing some valuable advice, Joshua gains another piece of his vision, pulling a bullet from his chest wound. In prison, Peter reflects on his suicide attempt, triggered by the breakdown of his pending adoption when his soon-to-be dad lost his job, sending him back to a group home. Facing random enemies in jail, he encounters his lawyer, who is credited as Lucifer. This lawyer isn't great at reassuring Peter and urges him to plead guilty, ignoring his claims of self-defense. The lawyer adds guilt, insisting that killing someone has permanently stained Peter and he could never live with himself. These harsh words deeply affect the already suicidal teenager, leading him to fashion a noose from his bedsheet. Before he can use it, Rose visits, recognizing Peter's description of his awful lawyer. Despite Rose's attempts to reassure him, Peter has heard similar platitudes before. During his transport back to Arkansas, with Rose causing havoc on the bus, Peter reaches a breaking point. He snaps, breaking his chains with the assistance of an enemy inmate who continually mutters threats. Peter forces the bus off the road, and Rose arrives to collect him while the enemy inmate offers apologies. Vera attends the Energy Summit where both the Afghan Prime Minister and the U.S. Senator, the two candidates for horsemen, are present. Utilizing her spirit-walking ability, she eavesdrops on the Prime Minister and his wife, learning that Abdul is an earnest and good man, genuinely eager to bring peace and prosperity to his people before being interrupted. Despite the positive impressions, Vera calls Rose to express her doubts about Abdul being the horseman of minor conflicts, let alone war. Her next target is Senator Richards, approached through her chief of staff. Unfortunately, Vera's pitch falls short, and the chief of staff is already influenced by Lucifer, pressuring him to finish the job. Vera encounters Alan again, who has finally drawn a line. He won't share information about the special rock unless she discloses what is truly happening. Raoul employs his undercover skills to obtain fake IDs for himself and Aaron to enter the summit. Aaron, however, worries about being wanted fugitive. Once inside, they discover the location from Joshua's vision, albeit a vague one, a podium and some glasses, not exactly narrowing down the venue. Aaron investigates and hears positive remarks about Senator Richards being a genuinely good person. In a meeting, Joshua updates them on his vision of an assassination, indicating that either the senator or the prime minister might be the target, and neither of them may be the horseman. Vera continues her espionage and discovers the evil chief of staff pressuring Senator Richards to have the prime minister killed, intending to drive his country into civil war and prompt another American invasion of Afghanistan. Senator Richards, fueled by personal motives since her son died in Afghanistan, is surprisingly supportive of this plan. Vera urgently informs Aaron of what she heard, emphasizing that their powers seem to work when urgently needed. Aaron, however, is led away as her fake ID is exposed. Despite this setback, she deciphers more of Joshua's vision and sends a telepathic message to Raoul that the shooter is on the security team. Peter and Rose arrive just in time. As the senator lifts her glass, which signals the shooter, a stunning display of CGI follows. She gains red glowing wings, and her eyes turn evil while all the angel's eyes dilate. It seems she has become the horseman of war. However, Peter, guided by Raoul to the shooter's location, slams into the wall beneath the shooter, his super strength shaking the building and causing the shooter to miss, hitting the senator's glass instead. Chaos ensues, scattering everyone, and the prime minister is safe. Unfortunately, it's too late. The first seal has been broken. After the failed attempt to prevent the breaking of the first seal, Aaron questions why they didn't succeed, considering they saved the prime minister. Rose explains that the senator still made the decision to shoot him, committing the sin. Despite saving the country from chaos and war, there's nothing they can do about war now except look for the next seal and the next horseman. Rose reassures Peter and emphasizes that they did achieve something positive by working together. Alan confronts Vera again, demanding answers. She opens up about Michael and how these people will help her find her son. Alan, still worried about her, decides to support her cause. Peter calls his foster father in what seems like an "I'll be okay" moment. Raoul creates a grave marker for his brother, sharing it with Nadia so they can grieve together. Senator Richards' team successfully spins the whole assassination attempt as her saving the prime minister, which catapults her into becoming the Secretary of Defense. She then murders her chief of staff, now dealing with Lucifer directly. News reports indicate that the prime minister has used the attempted assassination to bring peace to the country, a move hailed as potentially spreading peace throughout the world. A homeless lady with an abacus seems to be keeping score, giving +2 points to the good guys and +1 points to Team Evil. She also possesses a book full of notes and photos of the messengers.